I'd like to introduce Tony. He's going to share about something exciting that he'd like to introduce to you tonight. I know that we're not very technical savvy sometimes as bookkeepers, and we're not very social media people, but I think it's really time that we do embrace this sort of information, and Tony has a fantastic product that I just would like him to share with you, because I'm actually doing it now. United Bookkeepers is about to do it as well, and so it's really good. He won't take too much of your time, but he would like to just share that with you. So please welcome Tony.
It sounds like the first thing that I probably need to answer for everybody is RSS feeds. RSS stands for, while I get this ready, it stands for Real Simple Syndication. So RSS is Real Simple Syndication. RSS enables websites and people who aggregate information to be able to send it out to you in various formats. It can be syndicated between websites, so somebody who had a website and found lots of other good stuff can have it show up on their website using RSS feed. It can also show up in things like your Outlook or whatever mail program you're using. So that's the quick answer on that, in case anybody was wondering from the previous discussions before. So if you have a look on the tables, I have printed a few documents. Unfortunately, I don't have enough for everybody because I have major printer problems this afternoon. But what I want to tell you is about a new way of getting more business. So who, just interested, who's at full capacity at the moment? Excellent. Who would like some more customers? Can I assume that everybody else who didn't put their hand up first would like more? So how are you finding them? Has anybody got? Excellent. You're doing the works. What's working best for you? Networking? Great, great. Anybody else offer some ideas on how you're finding customers? Targeted customers? So would it be fair to say that your traditional advertising mediums are starting to lose their effectiveness? First example is a phone directory. What's the Yellow Pages useful for? Here's some statistics. This graph actually is not the way I would have done it, but that's from one of the sites that we list with, and it's showing how many people use the Yellow Pages less than monthly. And you can see a rapid increase than that. So that's actually, I would have drawn that as a decline rather than an increase. But it's not good for the Yellow Pages. This other one's showing the Yellow Pages online search and how much that's declining. So that sort of backs up what we were talking about a moment ago about the uses of the Yellow Pages. We've got under the projector, we've got the doorstop. These people have managed to make a chair out of it. These people have managed to make a shed out of it. And then we all know what happens at the end of the year when you get your new one. Where's the what was the advantage of the Yellow Pages back in, as I've got on the front of this, this is a little different to my slideshow. Back in 1980, why did everybody put their business in the Yellow Pages? Because targeted buyers would look there. When they knew they wanted to buy something, they would look there. So where do they look now? Google, exactly. So this is just some stats showing the increase in internet connections. And it's 70%, over 70% actually of Australians are connected to the internet. And we go down through that, most people search online now for what they want. So how can we be part of that? Pay-per-click, that's definitely one way to do it. The other way that's hot at the moment, you'll see just this section here is termed organic listings. They're the listings that come up because Google thinks they're great websites. This section over here is pay-per-click, and sometimes they'll put pay-per-click up the top. So that's where somebody mentioned before, I think it was the other Tony, that we can pay Google, we can put an ad on here. But what they did late last year is they rejigged the way they did things. For a long time there's been Google Maps, and your business has been able to be on Google Maps. But what they did is they said, well, this is more important now. At the moment, people are searching for things locally. They want, the statistics are they want stuff from within a 10-kilometre radius of where they live or work. So what Google did is they said, well, where there is local search listings available, we're going to move that to the top of our page when people search for it. So that's what this section is here. They term that Google Places listings. So somebody who's just spent thousands and thousands of dollars getting their listing up to what was the top of the organic listings, now all of a sudden has been shifted all the way down here and replaced by these little balloons and a map over here. So there's actually a massive opportunity in that. Just a little background how Google did that, and I think that might actually be my next slide. No, it's not. Google went out and listed something in the vicinity of 45 million businesses worldwide that they created these listings for out of whatever they could find on the internet, predominantly yellow pages, other local listings, various other, wherever they could find information with location details, they created these places pages. Out of 42 million, only 2% of those have been claimed. What I mean by claimed is that they go in and you say, yes, this is my listing, I own it, and I'm going to update the details. In here, there's an example. If you just flick over to this page, this is one that I made specifically for today, which was showing bookkeeping services. This slide is something I'll come back to in a minute, but if you have a look at bookkeeping services, I meant to bring some prizes with me, but I didn't, because I'd love to give a prize to whoever can find their business on this page. And there may be somebody. Next page. Next page. So this search was done as if I was in Charlestown. So I'm searching for bookkeeping services in Charlestown. If you look at the map, you'll notice a lot of them are Sydney, and they're claiming to service this area. So on the next page, I've got bookkeeping service, bookkeepers, and accountants. So you're on the next page. Anybody else? Well done. Have you claimed your listing? Okay. Okay. That's great that you've got on there. There's obviously something that Google has liked about the information they've got for you to get you up there amongst the ones that are there. The risk is that when you haven't claimed it, that you're not in control of that, and that you could get bumped out of that position by others. So here's an example of the standard type of listing, and if you look over the page there, I've got an example of an unclaimed listing. This is an unclaimed listing. It'll have just the bare basics. If you've got a couple of line yellow pages ad, then it might have your address, your phone number, etc. that's in that listing. This is an example of a listing that has been optimised. In these handouts here, there's an example of one that's been claimed, just happens to be VBD, who I know, are they members or sponsors? So they've actually claimed their listing, they've updated their information, they've added their logo, but you'll notice there that still in the page that you see on Google, you can still see a whole heap of competitors. Google calls it related places. So places that are similar. Now, on this listing, that space is moved way down the screen where people don't see it. If you look over the next page, this is a fully optimised listing. I'm not sure if I've got that in this slideshow. Yes, I have. So this listing here is a fully optimised one. These guys, for their description, which is, for their keywords, which is supplements, they weren't showing up. They were showing up on page 2. All of their competitors, including some that were in a different field, instead of human supplements or in pet supplements, were showing up above them on the first page. 30 minutes after we optimised their listing, they showed up at position C, which is the third place from the top. So you can see there we've got a picture of their store, we've got descriptions, we've got additional information about what their store does. We've actually, if you click on that more photos, there's 10 photos and 1 video. You can have up to 5 videos if you like. There's an offer, or some people call it a coupon. There's reviews by users and responses by the owners. Now, this reviews is important. I didn't do the example in here, but I've come across a number of businesses, and it's not that uncommon, to have review, no stars, terrible service, these guys dudded me out of something, never shop there again. Now the problem with that is, okay, that's going to happen. That's going to happen to anybody who's not squeaky clean. Now, we want to aim for that never to happen, but we need to be in control of it. The particular people that I'm thinking of that had a really terrible one didn't even know. But there's people searching for their stuff. There's people searching, getting a list of all their competitors, possibly clicking through one to the other, and they come across them and they see terrible service, never go there again, what are they going to do? Click through to the next one. So far I've talked about Google. There's more than just Google. There's Yahoo, there's Bing, there's other local directories. There's Twitter. Somebody mentioned Facebook, social media. All of those things tie in. They are the new media. They are where people are finding what they want. They're where people are sharing information about it. They're sharing great service, terrible service, particularly in restaurants and things like that. So where does that leave us? I mentioned before that 45 million pages, only 2% of businesses have claimed that. So this is a chance to get an edge on 98% of all the other businesses. Because once you've claimed that, you control that listing. You keep the information accurate, you keep it up to date, you keep all of a proper description of your business in there and information that people can use. You don't actually need a website these days. Websites are nice to have, but people aren't even clicking through to websites. They're clicking to Google Places or Yahoo Places or getting information off social media, and they're making the call from there. Mobile phones now will show places like the Google Places listing will show in applications where all I have to do is click on a button that says call and I can be calling that business. Or I click on a button that says directions and it's giving me directions on how to get there. So it's the way things are moving. So 3 choices you have. Ignore it and hope the good old days will come back. Anybody? Any takers? You're going to ignore it? Learn about the new technologies and manage it yourself, or have people like us do it for you. Now, I'm going to encourage you today that whatever you do, don't do the first one. I don't mind whether you get us to do it or whether you get one of your staff to do it, but at the very bare minimum, claim your listing. Claim your listing, get control of it, and then update the information and keep track of it. Keep an eye on it regularly, once a month perhaps, and check your reviews. Make sure you respond to anything if you get a bad review. That's enough of, yeah. So there's 2 sides to that story. If it's somebody fraudulently trying to, destroy your business, you can go to Google and say, I believe that this is somebody who this is not a real review, this is somebody who's trying to damage us. And Google will look at taking it down. If it's a valid review, they won't. But what you can do is you can manage it. By saying on that review, somebody says, restaurant, for example, terrible service, it took forever. You can respond to that. You can say, look, very sorry about that. We had a staff member in who we have since let go because they continue to have that bad behaviour. We've now taken we've taken your feedback on board, we've attended to it, and we're making sure that all our future customers are attended to well. So although that doesn't get rid of the bad review, what it does is it shows you as caring about the feedback and as doing something about the feedback. The other side to that, I guess there was actually 3 parts. The third part of that is that part of the system that we give you is where we give you review cards for your customers and say, fill out this review card, we'll post reviews, or even better, please go and review us. Because the more reviews you get, if you've got 20 good reviews and 1 bad one, that 1 bad one doesn't look as bad. If you've got 100 great reviews, well, fantastic. But if you've got no good reviews, and what are people more willing to do? When they've had something bad happen, they're more willing to go and do something about that than they are when they've had some good service. So it's also about managing that, encouraging people who've had good service, like getting testimonials. So encouraging people to get on there, whether it be Google Places, Facebook Places, or other sites, to get some good reviews up, because that's again part of the word of mouth, or social proof as they call it, that when somebody's looking for a business and they go, hey, this business has got some people who are really happy with it, let's go to them. So what I'm going to do for everybody in this room, because I believe you all need it, I believe you can all get some targeted buyers out of it. So what I'm going to do is in here, and if you didn't get one of these, there's some extras on the table there, is I'm going to offer the basic service, which is claim your listing and get your correct information up there, I'm going to offer that to everybody tonight for free. All you have to do is fill out that form and we'll get it done for you. The other thing I'm going to offer, I just had a talk to Sue about this a moment ago. We're setting up a system at the moment where, because people like yourselves come across other businesses who could benefit from this. So what we're doing is we're setting up a system where as affiliates or referrers, we're going to give you 20% of the cost of the investment, I should say, of the value of our paid services. We're going to give that to anybody who refers. Now, Uniting Bookkeepers I consider today as the referrer to everybody in this room, but they've been very generous and they've said, well, what we'd prefer, rather than getting a commission out of that, what we'd prefer is to give that back to the members as a bonus for them as being a member. So on our paid services, which I'm not going to go into great detail, you can have a chat to me later about that if you're interested in going there. On any of those, 20% discount because you're a Uniting Bookkeepers member. So, any questions on all of that? Any thoughts, any ideas? Okay, big companies are getting involved in this, but whether the decision makers are actually spending the same amount of time. I work for another company who has a big presence, one of Australia's leading seminar and event companies, and they have a big presence in social media. So what I would probably say is that, because I know for a fact that Karen, the director of that company, does spend time on social media. They already have that sorted out in-house though. So what you probably need to look at is that target demographic of the people that you're looking for that don't have the in-house capability, and making sure that you're pitching everything about your branding on your social media and the posts that you put that pitch you to that level. So Facebook, for example, your info page and your welcome page, you want to make sure that the content that's on that is the content that's aiming for those businesses. That you're saying, you know, we look after, I don't know your exact situation, but whether it's we look after growing established businesses, or make it clear that you're servicing that particular sector. True Local is a local search directory. So now what we've got, as you'll see in part of the services there, we've got like the top 5 directories, or the top 10 directories, or the top 20. We've gone and researched who are the top directories in Australia. So those directories, some of them will allow you to list your businesses for free, others will have paid listings. Google will look at those, and Google will say, okay, this business is on all of these 10 other directories or these 20 other directories, and people are reviewing it there and things are happening, and that will help your rank. But True Local, to answer your exact question, is totally separate from Google. But it will show up in your Google listings because your business name, your contact details, your description are in there. That's one of the risks of not claiming it, is that what I should have made clearer as well is that when it's not an owner verified listing, Google allows anybody to go in and update certain details, not all of them, but certain details, because Google wants as much accuracy as possible. So if somebody turns up and that store's not at that address, they allow people to go and say, well, I'm going to update these details. Now what happens if your competitor gets hold of that and goes, okay, well, let's send them around the corner? I'd like to think that doesn't happen too often, but it's a risk that can be addressed by simply claiming that. So that's why that offer. Okay, I'll call it quits then, because my contact details are on the back and a bit of info about QR codes. I'll go through that another time. Thank you.